on the occasion of this seminar that they're organizing in memory of their late father, Lakshman Kadirgama, who contributed immensely to this country. There were many great achievements that Lakshman achieved, for which he was recognized internationally at Oxford, as Ajita reminded us. But the one that I would like to focus on is that he tried to be a bridge between our divided communities and bring us together. Now, that is the line that I have also tried to follow. But I know that when you are a bridge, and you try to bring people together, you displease many people, and sometimes you're walked upon. But that is the price that we have to pay for trying to build peace. Now, this election that we are facing is a very decisive one, because we have the choice of consolidating the change that has taken place, or we have the choice of reversing it and going in a new direction. One of the most outstanding features of this election is that it is a peaceful one. It is, compared to the past elections, it is a peaceful one. And it is one in which there are relatively few violations of the law. In fact, one of the election monitors who have come from abroad and who had monitored elections previously was wondering why it seemed to be so quiet. Because in the past there were posters, there were streamers, cutouts, there were meetings everywhere. And this time, none of that is visible. And so for this election monitor from abroad, this was a disturbing thing, wondering whether people are interested in this election. And I said, yes, they are interested, they are very interested. But this time, the law is being implemented. Because this is one of the changes that has taken place during the past 7 months, that the law is being followed, and those who have been provided with the legal powers of the state are using the powers they have, which was not the situation before. The second very outstanding feature of this election is that nationalism has not come to the fore. Usually, in a divided society, in a society where the communities are in conflict or have different ideas, it is easy for politicians to mobilize nationalism. That's the easiest way to win votes. And that is what we saw during the years of the war, and even in the years after the war. The issue of the war, of nationalism, fear of the other, those were brought to the surface. But at this election, we find that it is not so. That even though attempts have been made to mobilize nationalism, the people have not responded to it. Because people are more open-minded. They want a change. They want a new direction, which is a very positive thing. I returned this afternoon from Gaul. In Gaul, we held a workshop, a discussion with the civil society. We had invited only 40 people, but 80 people came. That is because they are so interested. They want to discuss, they want to find out what's happening, and they want to make the correct choice. One of the issues that they raised, the people there raised, was they said, there is a campaign that to elect good candidates, honest candidates, those who are not corrupt. But we know that when people win elections and get to positions of power, then they become corrupt. And all are the same. everyone gets corrupted. This was what they were saying, and they were asking, what is the answer to this? Because whoever we vote for will end up becoming corrupt. But there is an answer, and that answer was given by many people have given the answer. But the answer that we have was given to us by the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, which was appointed by the former government at the end of the war. And one of its recommendations was that it should not be the rule of men, but the rule of law should prevail. In other words, this society has to create systems of governance, so that we don't have to place our trust in individuals, we place our trust in the system. In other words, we have strong and effective police, strong and effective judiciary, strong and effective public service. Therefore, when we think of whom to vote for, let us think of those candidates who would support, who understand this and who would support the creation of strong institutions in our country. We are fortunate that we have a president who spearheaded the 19th Amendment. The 19th Amendment to the Constitution set up independent institutions, set up the grounds to create independent institutions for the police, the judiciary, the Elections Commission, the Public Service, the Human Rights Commission. In addition, the 19th Amendment did something very unique, which is that the president reduced his own powers. He reduced his powers at the very beginning of his term of office. So we are fortunate that we have politicians, we have people who understand the need for good systems. We must identify them, whichever party we vote for, we must identify them and vote for them. I also said that, my second point is, I said that at this election, the issue of nationalism has not been able to come to the center stage. The reason is that for the last 6 months, new issues have come to the center stage. Issues of corruption, accountability, murders that have been committed, abuse of power, those have taken the center stage. So people are not so interested in the propaganda or in the discussion that the LTT might come back, that the international community wants to divide our country. Those are also concerns, but those are not at the center of our concerns. At the center of the concerns today is issues of corruption and accountability. But there is an unaddressed issue. Even though nationalism is not at the center, there is an unaddressed issue that has to be dealt with in the future. And that is that none of the political parties really have taken on the issue of the solution to the ethnic conflict. This is the conflict, this is the problem that has been with us from the very start of our independence, from 1948. The first thing that our independent government did was to take away the rights of one section of the people, deprive them of their citizenship rights, deprive them of the right to vote. For 30 years, they didn't have that. And because of that, the Tamil community of plantation Tamil community, even today, remains the poorest and most backward because of that legacy. So right from the beginning, we were a divided community, divided people. We need to find a solution to that. But the political parties have not been willing to put forward their solution to this question at this election. So this is something where we need to continue to work on. I heard some of the questions that were asked, what can we do even at this time with regard to the election? Now it's the last lap of this election. So I think the real value of this group and of the work that Ragi and Ajita are doing is for the future, after the election. After the election, to ensure that the politicians who are elected are held accountable so that they don't become corrupt and they don't abuse their power, to set up good systems, push them to set up good systems. Also, to support them when they try to address this unaddressed problem of the ethnic conflict, trying to find a solution to it. The war is over. It is true the war is over, but the war being over does not mean there's a solution. Still, the root of the problem that led to war still remains unaddressed. That is why in the North, we will find people voting very differently from people in the rest of the country, because there is this unaddressed problem. So we, as a group, need to think about this, think through what the solution is, and support the political leaders who are elected in the forward journey so that we become truly a united country and therefore are able to develop our country unitedly rather than being at cross purpose and divided. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. Just a reminder, what I said this morning was there have been countless people working tirelessly for 3 to 4 decades to maintain this democracy of ours. And Jehan's definitely one of those people. And I'd like to say a little bit about that. We don't realize that a lot of the people in the media, for example, human rights activists, people who've been spreading the word about democracy, doing research, surveys, monitoring, gender activists, all these people, there are many, many more that I'm forgetting to mention, all of them have been working sometimes under very, very difficult conditions. And we know, some of us who are a little older, and certainly the people here who are older than me, can remember what it's been like over 50, 60 years in this country. And people like Jehan and others, Dr. Saravanamuthu, and some of the other speakers, have gone through a lot as individuals, and their organizations have gone through a lot. We know what they've gone through. I don't want to spell it out too much, but let's remember that this is a process. We are privileged to be here at this moment in time because these people have been working to give us the political and democratic space to be able to do even something like this. So please, I'd like to just publicly give them all a round of applause. I'd like to invite somebody who I've just recently met and who I think is a brilliant speaker, and she has a great future, Sashi Desmel from Transparency International. Thank you.
Thank you, Ragi, and thank you, Ajita, for inviting me and for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts with all of the fantastic people who have actually turned up for this amazing workshop. I'm here on behalf of Transparency International Sri Lanka. Transparency International, for those of you who do not know, is a local organization that actively works against corruption. So we do a variety of things, including election monitoring, and we specifically focus on the misuse of public resources, which is a very big problem in Sri Lanka, as most of you know. And corruption, as you are aware, is one of the main topics that has been discussed so far, and one of the main concerns that are coming out of everyone here, because most of the questions are also kind of related to that. So I have a bit of a challenge on my hand to talk about the disease of corruption. Disease of corruption sounds a bit dramatic, but I think personally it is a disease. Disease like a cancer, actually, affecting so many different areas of our country right now. I mean, if you look at it, it can start from one tiny point and spread all across the country, all sectors, from the economy to the social fabric of our mere society, where brothers are competing for tenders with bribes, and basic values of integrity and honesty are just coming at a second place. So I'd just like to place a different thought today. about this disease of corruption and how we can actually address it. Because I feel that corruption, yes, we've talked about grand corruption and fraud and how all these politicians are engaging in it. But I also feel that corruption is a very personal thing. It's a personal issue. It's about personal integrity. And the cure for this disease of corruption also lies there. If you could move to the next slide, please. Before we actually go to that specific topic, I'd just like to share some of the facts that we have about corruption when it comes to Sri Lanka. Transparency International globally conducts an index called the Corruption Perception Index. And Sri Lanka was ranked at 85 out of 177 countries last year. I mean, the rank, okay, say out of 177 countries, 85 might be okay. But if you actually look at the score, we scored 38 out of 100 marks, which is obviously below the 50-mark range even. And if you look at the scores for 2013 and 2012, it is still very, very low. So this is like a problem that has always been there. And even though corruption is like the word now and is at the forefront of every discussion, this disease of corruption has always been there. Even if you look at the past politicians, past leaders, the way of governance in the past as well, corruption has always been there. But somehow it has been this dormant disease that has not been discussed. And all of a sudden it came to the forefront in middle of last year. And for some people, it's like a brand new phenomenon. Oh yeah, everyone seems to be corrupt. But it was always there, and the facts and figures prove this. But why did it become so popular? Why did it come out as such an important issue? Well, obviously because corruption affects human beings in a very personal way. And everyone started to really feel the effects of corruption and the abuse of power, the conflict of interest, the nepotism, the procurement corruption, and of course political corruption that was taking place in the country. Next slide, please. Okay, thanks. So Corruption Barometer is another index that the Transparency International movement does. And it basically speaks to people, a sample, about what they feel corruption is all about. And I mean, interestingly, 1 in 4 people have given a bribe in that corresponding year. And I mean, I would like to pose that same question to you. How many of us gave a bribe in the last 12 months or in the past month? How many of us, maybe drove drunk in the night and quickly gave 500 rupees to a cop? How many of us, maybe took some paper or A4 from office and, for the kids' projects and all? People don't think of this as corruption, but it is. It doesn't belong to you. It's, given to your entrusted self, to use it for office work. But you're basically cheating the system by taking it home. So, something to think about. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. And of course, if you look at some of the other results of the barometer, they found that people think the police is the most corrupt entity in the country, which again somehow sounds right, because a lot of us have had those interactions with the police at some point in our lives where, we were asked for a bribe. But then again, they don't become corrupt if we don't give the bribe, right? What if we actually refuse to give the bribe? Because most of these interactions happen because we've actually done something wrong and we want to escape this wrongdoing. So maybe we have a part to play in that 63%. And of course, the other interesting percentage is that 51% think political parties are corrupt. And that is the main issue that we have to address at this point of time. This whole issue of having a whole list of corrupt political parties and having to select 225 people from this list to represent us, who we perceive as non-corrupt, to the parliament. Okay. This is a study that Transparency International Sri Lanka actually did a couple of years back. We just want to know what do you think of corruption? And yeah, we had some pretty interesting results. where youth actually didn't view cheating as bad as, breaking the law. They felt like, okay, so if I cheated at an exam, that's okay, that's not corrupt, that's not anything bad. It's okay that I give a bribe to, get ahead of a job, or maybe, I did it for my family because, my mother was sick and I need to get a doctor's appointment, so that's why I gave a bribe. And somehow when you put it out like that, it sounds quite justified. But the crux of the matter is, corruption is actually, at the heart of it, is a lack of integrity. It's a lack of basic decency, lack of honesty on our parts. The simple fact that you're willing to, sacrifice all of your beliefs, all of your belief systems, to just get ahead, just to get a tiny little advantage. And coming from a nation that is very religious and spiritual, where, we put our religion first, we start programs by observing our religion, but yet being corrupt is also very, very, it's like almost second nature. We don't think twice. We don't think about our religion. Oh, you might actually go to hell if you give a bribe. I don't think anyone thinks of it like that. But it's, maybe we should start to think of it like that, because I'm sure it happens that way. Okay, so these are just to give you an idea about how personal corruption is from the day you're born to the day you die. Somehow corruption always plays a part. And you can actually, you can do it in a personal level, actually calculate the amount of times throughout your life that you have to actually give a bribe to get a birth certificate, when you're getting a driver's license, getting a doctor's appointment. And the worst case for me here is when the bribe that you give when you enter your child to school. This is like the first lesson any kid, 6 years old, learns. And the most disturbing thing is they actually discuss this at school. Oh, how much did your parents pay to get you in? Oh no, my parents didn't pay that much. It actually affects the child's self-worth. These are the things that actually happen in our society, because corruption is so integral, so part of every little thing that we do. Even if you watch TV, wherever you go, anywhere, including Facebook, corruption is everywhere. So what can we do about it? Well, in this context, in election context, the first thing we have to do is, I guess, look at all the manifestos, look at all the candidates. There are 6,000 candidates present. Surely we can find 225 candidates, or rather, at least 3 candidates who are actually not corrupt. Think of your value system. Are they representing that? And also look at the policies that they represent or that they value. Things like right to information, where it is recognized tool against corruption. And it's a tool that was almost introduced and actually passed in Parliament in this 100-day period, but unfortunately it wasn't, because people know, the policymakers know if it actually comes about, that they are going to get caught in a huge mess. But imagine if we actually had that right now, the information we would have been able to get about candidates. Of course, we would have been able to make a much wiser choice, but I think there's enough information, especially in places like mantri.lk, that we can actually find out about the candidates and vote wisely. It's not like those days where you don't actually know what's going on. We have enough and more information before us. So that's one thing we can do. And also the values that we uphold, just to teach them to our kids and make sure that they also, if they're voting right, think about who you're voting for and really come together to really challenge this disease. Because at the end of the day, unlike other things, corruption, we have the power to actually end it. If we stop being corrupt, if we stop giving that bribe, because you need at least two people to engage in this transaction, and if we play that role, if we actually go and complain to the relevant areas, relevant commissions, you know what, I was asked a bribe. You go to the police, and also people, of course, don't have faith in certain systems. You have complained and sometimes things haven't actually gone that way, but you need to demand for it. You need to demand because this is your right, and if you don't demand for your own right, well, it's not going to actually come your way. So just a last thought. I hope we all think about who we are going to vote for. It's just like a week left. and think of who you are, and think of whether you want someone corrupt to represent you, because then, it makes you as corrupt as the candidate, and choose to live with integrity. Choose integrity above corruption. And, let's work together to build a nation that upholds corruption. Thank you.
We'll have a question session. Question session? Yeah, question session. Yes. If you have questions, keep writing them down. You see, people are starting to put things on the boards at the back, and that goes into our summary process. But I'd like to invite some new friends who've become our event ambassadors. They've been helping us to promote the event for the last few days, and I'm very grateful to what they've been helping us to do. Please come on stage, and I'll introduce you as you go along. So what we're going to try and do is introduce music into this whole process, because I discovered in my corporate training work that actually if you use music and sound, you learn in a completely different way. And there's a lot of scientific evidence now that suggests this, that we can actually take on more information at what I call a cellular level, at a physical body level, emotional level, if we use music and sound, yeah? So and I'm going to get this wrong because I'm really terrible at names. I'm just going to give you your first names. I'd like to welcome Dushyant, first of all. Thank you, Dushyant, for coming on board. Yeah, are the mics working? Those mics are... Yeah? And Stephanie, thank you so much, Stephanie. And... Better introductions. Then you have to come and do it. Come and do it. My sister's going to do the introductions. I'm bad at this.
Yeah, mine is on now.
Testing.
This is my job. This is what I did, if you remember, Metta, for so many years. So, how many of you know these two people? Come on, hands up. How many of you know them by sight? The beautiful lady, Stephanie Sirivardhana, a one-time Miss Sri Lanka. She is also, she has her own, what do we call it? Foundation, the Stephanie Sirivardhana Foundation, which...
Sexually abused young girls.
Empowering.
Tell us, please.
Is this my... yeah, okay. Basically, we are working with sexually abused young girls. We are in the process of setting up a transitional shelter in Kandy.
Wonderful work, and very much in keeping with one of the themes that's coming up. Yes, bravo, Stephanie. And this guy, I don't know if you recognize him better with his glasses on or maybe off, one of Sri Lanka's leading singers, dancers, actors, I don't know. I've been away for a long time, but I've seen him recently, just a little clip on TV. Amazing. He's probably the best known personality around. And for us to have both of them here today is just amazing. And you're very lucky now to get a taste of them. And will you introduce the rest of your guys, please?
This is Krishan Pereira. He's from the band Doctor, and he'll be singing today, and that is Gayan. Gayan, what's your last name? Gayan Fernando on keyboards and Pubudu Jayakodi on percussion.
Great, thank you.
I would just like to say thank you so much to Ajita, Ragi, and the whole team for putting this together. This is such an important cause, and we are honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, honestly, we got involved. I wanted to do this because not just for providing a bit of music here just for your entertainment, but it also for the reason that we believe that everybody should be responsible in appointing leaders. and it is a very important time for us. And I think throughout the day you guys have seen and heard the speeches where we speak of all our responsibilities. So this is not for you guys who are attending this workshop. And please make sure that you put your efforts to spread the word that that we go out there and vote for the people who deserve to be in Parliament and who will be responsible enough for a better future. So it is for that message that we came here, not just to sing a song. And so please do help us and help yourselves and the whole country. So not more anything, are just our songs with the thought of doing something in relate to the cause, and we just thought of singing "We Are the World."
So please join us, because I know most of you know the lyrics. So all of you join us and we'll all sing together as one.
Yeah, then you won't find our mistakes also.
There comes a time when we hear a sudden call, where the world must come together as one. There are people dying. It's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all.
We can go on pretending day by day, and that's a lie. Somewhere we'll soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the truth, love is all we need.
We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's stop leaving.
There's a choice we're making.
We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Send them your hearts, so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free.
As God has shown us by turning stone to bread, and so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's stop giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives.
It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nothing we can fall.
That a change can only come when we stand together as one.
We are the children, we are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's stop giving.
There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives.
It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was really, really wonderful. And I guess I have a lot to learn and catch up on because I didn't realize Stephanie was a singer as well as everything else she does. I'm blown away. Thank you so much, guys. You can imagine how busy their lives are as entertainers, as business people, as good citizens, and to take time off and come here today was really wonderful. Thank you. My dear brother, Ragi, what next? Yes. So earlier I was telling you about the group of youngsters who have traveled all the way from Jaffna to be with us. And in fact, they have been, let's say, escorted by another wonderful lady who has done more than her fair share today because she was translating all the questions that came in Tamil. So, Inthumati, and I'm not going to offend her by even attempting to pronounce her surname, if you don't mind. Inthumati is from from a grassroots NGO called Viluthu. Her area of specialty is women in politics and governance. And she's going to talk to us now about the importance of gender equality, and I'm sure much more about the role of women in our country in politics and in civil society. Inthumati.
Thank you, Raki and Anita. சாந்தி சத்யானந்துக்கு முன்னேறத்தில் நான் எனது நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கின்றேன். இசையில் மயங்கி அனைவரும் விழித்தபடி இருக்கின்றீர்கள் என்பது புரிகின்றது. என்னுடைய கருத்துக்கள் உங்களை உள்வாங்குவதன் சற்று சிரமமே என்றாலும் கூட ஒருவேளை எனது குரல் உங்களை ஈர்க்கும் என்றால் எனது கருத்துக்கள் உங்களை நிச்சயமாக சென்றடையும் என்று நான் நினைக்கின்றேன். எனது கருத்துக்கள் நேரடியாக நான் பூண்டேன். எனக்கு அதிகளவு நேரம் அவர்கள் தரவில்லை. ஆகையால் நேரடியாக நான் விடயத்தில் வருகின்றேன். உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா இலங்கையில் எவ்வளவு வீதமான பெண்கள் இங்கே இருக்கின்றார்கள்? யாராவது விடை தெரிந்தவர்கள்? இலங்கையில் உள்ள பெண்களின் தொகை எவ்வளவு என்று உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா? Sorry, unable to understand. 52%, yes. 52% மாணவர்கள் பெண்கள். இதில் வாக்களிக்கும் தகுதியில் உள்ளவர்கள் எவ்வளவு பேர் என்று தெரியுமா? நான் நினைக்கிறேன் இது தமிழ் குரல்கள் இங்கே வந்தால் சற்று என்னை உற்சாகப்படுத்துவதாக இருக்கும் என்று. எவ்வளவு? சாரி, வாக்களிக்கும் தகுதி உள்ள பெண்கள். ஆம், 56% பெண்கள் வாக்களிக்கும் நிலையில் இங்கே உள்ள பெண்கள். ஆனால் உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா எங்களுக்கு பாராளுமன்றத்தில் எவ்வளவு வீதமான பெண்கள் இருக்கின்றார்கள்? வெறும் 4% மட்டும். நம்புவீர்களா இதை? ஏன் மாகாண சபைகளில் இன்னும் கூட 6% மேற்பட்ட எந்த ஒரு புள்ளிகளும் எங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கவில்லை. அதை விட கேவலம் நாங்கள் இங்கே கூற வேண்டும், உள்ளூராட்சி மன்றங்களில் வரும் 1.6% மட்டுமே. இதற்கு என்ன காரணம்? நான் நினைக்கின்றேன் இதில் எனக்கு கிழக்கு பல்கலைக்கழகத்திலிருந்து ஒரு மாணவர் என்னுடன் டீ டைமில் கலந்துரையாடி இருந்தார். அதில் ஒரு கேள்வியை அவர் எனக்கு முன்வைத்திருந்தார். ஏன் மிஸ், கட்டாயம் அரசியலில் பெண்கள் வரத்தான் வேண்டுமா? அந்த கேள்வி அவருடைய அந்த பருவத்தில் அந்த வயதில் அவரை கேட்க தூண்டியது என்று சொல்லி சொன்னால், நான் நினைக்கிறேன் எங்களுடைய பல்கலைக்கழக கல்வி முறையா அல்லது எங்களுடைய சமூக மயமாக்கலின் விளைவா என்று சொல்லி எனக்கு சற்று குழப்பமாக இருந்தது அந்த நேரத்தில். ஆனாலும் நான் சொன்னேன், உங்களுடைய கேள்விகளுடன் இன்றைய எங்களுடைய கருத்து பரிமாறல்களை நாங்கள் ஆரம்பிக்கலாம் என்று சொல்லி. என்ன நினைக்கின்றீர்கள்? வடக்கு கிழக்கிலே கிட்டத்தட்ட 89,000 பெண் தலைமை தாங்குகிற குடும்பங்கள் அங்கே வசிக்கின்றார்கள். இன்று 53% பெண்களுக்கு எதிரான வன்முறைகள் இடம்பெற்றதாக புள்ளி விவரங்கள் ஆய்வுகள் சுட்டி நிற்கின்றன. சட்டத்தின் மீது நம்பிக்கை இல்லாத நிலையில் பெண்கள் என்ன செய்வதென்று தெரியாத நிலையில் தத்தளித்துக் கொண்டிருக்கின்றார்கள். இவர்களது பிரச்சனைகளை நாம் பெரிதாக மதிக்கின்ற பாராளுமன்றத்திலே கதைக்கக்கூடிய பெண்கள் எத்தனை பேர் உள்ளார்கள்? சொல்லுங்கள். பெண்கள் கட்டாயம் அரசியலுக்கு வர வேண்டுமா இல்லையா? வேண்டுமென்று நினைக்கின்றவர்கள் நான் நினைக்கிறேன் உங்கள் கரங்களை தூக்கி எங்களுக்கு அதற்கான விடிய பகருங்கள் என்று. பெண்கள் அரசியலுக்கு வர வேண்டுமா? நம்புகின்றீர்களா வர வேண்டும் என்று? ஓகே, நன்றி. அப்படின்னா நாங்கள் விடயத்துக்குள் வரலாம். எங்கள் அனைவருக்கும் அரசியலில் பெண்கள் வர வேண்டும் என்ற பேரவா உள்ளது. குறிப்பாக சமூக மட்டத்தில் இருந்து தேசிய மட்டம் வரைக்கும் தொழில் புரிகின்ற அல்லது செயற்பட்டுக் கொண்டிருக்கிற சமூக செயற்பாட்டுவாதிகள், பெண்ணிலைவாதிகள், மனித உரிமை செயற்பாட்டாளர்கள் கூட தமது ஆர்வத்தை அடிக்கடி வெளிப்படுத்தி கொண்டுதான் இருக்கின்றார்கள். Any problem in translation? Okay. ஓகே. ஆனால் என்ன பயணங்களுக்கு கிடைத்து விட்டது என்று வரும் 5% குறைவான அரசியல் பிரதிநிதிகளை கொண்டு நாம் என்ன மாற்றங்களை சமூகத்தில் கொண்டு வரலாம்? குடும்பத்திலே கேட்டால் குடும்பத்திலே வெளியிடங்களுக்கு போகாதே, நீ படித்தது போதும், எங்களுடைய சமூக அசைவுகளை கட்டுப்படுத்துகின்ற நிலை. ஏனென்றால் நாம் வளர்ந்து வந்த சூழல் ஆணாதிக்கம் மிக்க சமூகமாக உள்ளதால் அந்த குடும்பமே அந்நிலையை தக்க வைத்துக் கொள்வதற்கு தயாராகி நிற்கின்றது. இந்த நிலையில் அரசியல்வாதிகளிடம் சென்று கேட்டால், ஏன் நீங்கள் பெண்களை வேட்பாளர்களாக நியமிக்கின்றீர்கள் என்று கேட்டால் அவர்களுக்கு அரசியல் அறிவு போதாது. குடும்பத்தை விட்டும் வெளியில் வர விட மாட்டார்கள். பிறகு அரசியலில் போய் நாங்கள் பெண்களை அனுப்புங்கள், எங்களுக்கு நீங்கள் பெயர் நியமனங்களை தரவில்லை என்று சொல்லி குற்றச்சாட்டு. பெயர் நியமனங்களோட அதாவது நாமினேஷன்ஸுடன் நாங்கள் அங்கே சென்று காட்டினால் இவர்களுக்கு அரசியல் அறிவு போதாது. இது என்ன குற்றச்சாட்டு? என்ன செய்யலாம்? இங்குள்ள எளிய சகோதர தலைமுறை நாம் முன்வைக்கின்ற ஒரே ஒரு கேள்வி, இதற்கு நாம் என்ன செய்ய முடியும்? உங்களிடம் இதற்கான பதில் உள்ளதா? உங்கள் வாக்குகள் பெரியதொரு ஆயுதம் என்பதை நீங்கள் புரிந்து வைத்திருக்கின்றீர்களா? சொல்லுங்கள். உங்கள் குரல்கள் வரவில்லை எனில் நான் கதைப்பது புரியவில்லை என்று நினைக்கின்றேன். உங்களிடம் உள்ள ஆயுதம் வாக்கு. அந்த வாக்கை பயன்படுத்தி எப்படி நீங்கள் சமூகத்தில் மாற்றத்தை கொண்டு வர போகின்றீர்கள்? குறிப்பாக பெண்களது பிரதிநிதித்துவத்தை அதிகரிப்பதற்கு நாம் என்ன செய்வது? ஏற்கனவே இருக்கின்ற அரசியல் கலாச்சாரத்தை மாற்றுவது யாருடைய கைகளில் உள்ளது? இந்த கலாச்சாரத்தை மாற்ற வேண்டுமெனில் இளைய சமுதாயம் நாம் தான் முன்வர வேண்டும். அதற்கு என்ன செய்யலாம்? சொல்லுங்க. நான் நினைக்கிறேன் ருவாண்டா பிரதேசம் உங்களுக்கு நாடு அடிக்கடி நீங்கள் கேள்விப்படுற ஊடகங்களில் நீங்கள் கேள்விப்பட்ட ஒரு விசேடமான நாடு. கிட்டத்தட்ட 53 விதமான பெண் பிரதிநிதிகள் அங்கே பாராளுமன்றங்களில் இருக்கின்றார்கள். அந்த பாராளுமன்றத்திலே 53 விதமான பெண்கள் இருக்கின்றார்கள் என்றால் எங்களுடைய நாட்டை பாருங்கள். வெறும் 25% ஒதுக்கீடுகளை கேட்டதற்கே அதற்குள் 25% ஒதுக்கீட்டினை அழைக்கின்றோம் பெண் பிரதிநிதிகளுக்கு சொல்லிவிட்டு இளையோர் ஒதுக்கீட்டை அதற்குள் கொண்டு வந்து சேர்த்தார்கள். அப்படிப்பட்ட நாடு நம்முடைய நாடு. இந்த நாட்டை நாம் மாற்ற வேண்டும். இந்த நாட்டின் கலாச்சாரத்தை நாம் மாற்ற வேண்டும் எனில் என்ன செய்வது? உங்களுக்கு தெரியுமா, பெண்கள் வடக்கு கிழக்கை பொறுத்தவரையும் குறிப்பாக புலனறுவை மற்றும் மொனராகலை அன்றாபுரம் மாவட்டங்களை பொறுத்தவரையும் பெண்களிடம் நீங்கள் சென்று கேட்டால் அவர்கள் சொல்வார்கள், நாம் பட்ட வேதனைகளும் நாம் பட்ட வலிகளும் எமக்குத்தான் தெரியும். எமது பிரச்சனைகளை சொல்வதற்கு ஒரு பெண் பிரதிநிதிகள் கூட இல்லை எங்கள் பாராளுமன்றங்களிலோ அல்லது எங்களுடைய உள்ளூராட்சி மன்றங்களிலோ என்று உடனடியாக அந்த முதல் விடயமாக அவர் கேட்பது நாம் ஒரு பெண் பிரதிநிதியை வந்து அனுப்ப வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லி. ஆனா இதற்கு எவ்வளவு தூரம் எங்களோட இளையோர் சமுதாயம் வந்து அங்க வந்து இதுக்கான ஆதரவை வழங்கி இருக்குது. குடும்ப அரசியலால் முன்வருகின்ற பெண்களே தவிர ஏனைய பாமர மக்கள் என்று சொல்லப்படுகின்ற மக்களை வந்து வலுவூட்டுவது என்பது மிக கடினம். அப்படியே வலுவூட்டி அவர்களை கொண்டு சென்று விட்டாலும் கூட அரசியலில் அவர்கள் புகுவதற்கு முன் அவர்களுக்கு முதலாவது சேலஞ்ச் அரசியலில் வந்து அரசியல் கட்சிகளிடம் வந்து வேட்பாளர் நியமனங்களை கேட்கும்போது நாம் வலுப்படுத்தி அவர்களை கொண்டு சென்ற நிலையில் வேட்பாளர் நியமனங்களை கேட்கும்போது அங்கு வந்து எங்களுக்கு கிடைப்பது வந்து இல்லை, கிடையாது, ஆண்களுக்கு ஏற்கனவே கொடுத்து விட்டோம். இந்த நிலை மாற்றப்பட வேண்டுமா வேண்டாமா? என்ன செய்யலாம் நாம் எல்லோரும் இணைந்து? பெண்கள் ஏன் வர வேண்டும் என்று நினைக்கின்றீர்கள்? ஏற்கனவே ரோஹண சொல்லியிருந்தால் 10 வருடங்கள் நாங்கள் நமது நாட்டின் நிலைய டெமோக்ரஸியை வந்து உருமாற்றுவதற்கு எங்களுக்கு 10 வருடங்கள் தேவைப்படும் என்று நான் நினைக்கிறேன். எங்களுடைய இதில் இருக்கிற உங்களுடைய பிரகாசமான முகங்கள் எனக்கு ஒரு கருத்தை சொல்லிக்கிறேன். இன்னும் ஒரு குறைந்தது ஒரு 3 வருடங்களிலாவது இந்த நிலையை நாங்கள் மாற்ற வேண்டும் என்று. அது வந்து பெண்களின் பிரதிநிதித்துவம் அங்கே வந்து அதிகரிக்கப்படுமாயின் அது வந்து எங்களுக்கான பங்கேற்புக்கான முதலாவது இடம். அந்த இடத்தை நாங்கள் இன்றிலிருந்தாவது நாம் அந்த தளத்தை நோக்கி போறதுக்கான ஒரு முதலடியை வந்து நாங்கள் வைக்க வேண்டும் என்று சொல்லி இந்த நேரத்தில் உங்களிடம் கேட்டுக்கொள்கின்றேன். மூடி கிடந்த கதவுகளை திறந்து முற்றுகையை தடுத்து நாம் புதியதொரு சந்தர்ப்பம். உங்கள் வாக்குகளால் பெண்களுக்கான விருப்பு வாக்குகளை நீங்கள் அளிக்க முன்வர வேண்டும். அதே நேரம் வந்து பெண்களுக்கான பெயர் நியமனங்களை கொடுப்பதற்கான வழியை நீங்கள் உங்கள் மாவட்டத்தின் அரசியல் கட்சிகளிடம் கதைத்து அவர்களுடைய அட்வொகசி செய்து, அதாவது பரிந்துரை நடவடிக்கைகளில் ஈடுபட்டு இந்த செயற்பாட்டை முன்னெடுக்க வேண்டும் என்பது எங்களுக்கு முக்கியமான ஒரு கடப்பாடாக இங்கே இருக்குது. இது விரைவில் தொடர்ந்து வேண்டிக்கொண்டு மௌனிக்கும் யுகங்களை நாம் மாற்றத்துக்கு உட்படுத்துவோம் என்று கேட்டு உங்கள் அனைவரிடமிருந்து விடைபெறுகின்றேன். வாய்ப்புக்கு நன்றி.
Ajit asked me to do it a bit more kind of as a showman. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to present a dear friend of mine who's come a long way from that side of Colombo. He does fantastic work. He's been talking already. Asoka Obesekara. Please welcome Asoka. Thank you very much from monthly.lk.
Thank you very much, Ragi, for providing this opportunity for Mantri to come and say a few words here. I think I will try to keep what I'm about to say brief. My colleague Sureka and I will both be speaking. Just in a nutshell, I just tell you what Mantri.lk does. What it does is, what was the reason behind Mantri.lk in the first place? So there was a information gap between what's going on in Parliament and what the public understand of what's going on in Parliament. And as a consequence, there are various, and in any country this is the case, there are various media, the media gives coverage to certain particular members of Parliament. I mean, the way things are reported are done in particular ways. So what we wanted to do was, we wanted to see whether there was a way that we could bridge this information gap so that people can start understanding what is going on in Parliament. So after a lot of work, what we finally get is this trilingual website, which is monthly.lk. But now, to tell you a little bit about how we got to this, to where we are right now. Now, as some of you all will know, there are very well established traditions of reporting within Parliament. So one of those is the production of the Parliamentary Hansard. So now the Parliamentary Hansard is a verbatim record of everything that is said in Parliament in the language in which it is spoken. So now, what we did was we devised a classification process of every single thing that is said in the Parliamentary Hansard. So everything that's over 5 lines long, we record. Everything that's less than 5 lines long but thematic related to a topic like education or health, we record that. If something is disruptive, and we have a tight definition of what that is, I won't bore you all with that now, we record that. So based on this system, we started classifying every single thing that is said in the Hansard from May 2012. So that's a little over 3 years. And we have a little over 28,000 individual records. So now each one of these records, if you can imagine, so every MP has a code. So that MP's code is put into one of these records, along with the method of contribution. So was it a written question? Did he file a petition? Was he contributing during a bill debate, during an adjournment motion? I mean, all of these things we track. Then what topic was it? So one of 42 topics that it can fall under. So like this, that is all of the information we get. So even every Hansard has its own code, what page in the Hansard. So if you can imagine, so that's all of the information that comes on one record, and we have 28,000 of these records now, and every month thousands more are being coded. That is our fundamental process. Now, that's quite a tall order because each parliamentary Hansard is on average around 90 to 100 pages long. So we have a small team of people who just churn through analyzing these Hansards. We have an entire process of checking it and rechecking it and verifying the data and everything else. So that is what really forms the key data set under monthly.lk. And now the reason that really drives us in that is that, and I touched on it earlier, is this idea of having a memory, Parliament to have a memory. So the thing is that if someone says something today, 2 years down the line, when they say something diametrically opposite, maybe it's not even 2 years down the line, maybe it's 2 weeks down the line, but let's just say 2 years down the line, when they say something diametrically opposite, someone may want to know, what has this particular parliamentarian said on this given issue in the past? Now, that is now, judging from the, if you go by the explanation I've just given of how much you have to churn through, a journalist is going to find that impossibly difficult to find out what has MPX said about health 2 years ago, or on education 2 years ago. So with our system, just with a click of a few buttons, we can pull up exactly what everyone has said on every single issue. So that is something that, whilst in the public domain, monthly.lk is still not as widely known as we'd like it to be, amongst journalists and amongst the people in the media, it's something which is used more often than sometimes I know, but frequently people call up and say, XYZ is coming tomorrow, can you tell me everything that, and they're going to be speaking about higher education, can you tell me what they have said? And so that is the way that we're now feeding into the national debate in a way. Obviously, we don't get any credit for it, which is a shame, but still. So that's the core process there. Another thing that we've done recently is, now, some MPs, I won't drag you through our scoring system, but we credit people for participating in Parliament. We don't make a judgment call as to whether particular MPs say things which are favorable to us or not. We look at just the way in which they're contributing and if they're contributing in a procedurally correct fashion on a given topic. So the fact that I may disagree with a particular policy stance doesn't really have any bearing on the fact that those MPs are speaking in a procedurally correct fashion in Parliament. So, but what you do end up seeing is you do end up seeing who is active. And what you end up also seeing is that there are some people who are very, very inactive. MPs who are very, very well known, but very, very inactive. So that is something that we start seeing on our site. And what you'll end up seeing when you look through our site is that there is absolutely no party political bias. So, and actually one of the fortunate things there was that when we introduced this system to members of parliament, if a person from a particular party had an issue, fortunately, before they waited for us to justify the answer, a person from the opposing party provided the answer and vice versa. So the fact that we are objective is something which has been established and which is at the heart of what we have done. And building on that, some MPs have turned around and said, but you know what, you all are saying that we're very inactive in the parliament, but we do all of our work in the consultative committees of parliament. And you all aren't looking at the consultative committees of parliament. So then we have to turn around and say, well, actually, you know what? The consultative committees of parliament, and just as in a sentence, the consultative committees are connected to, so every ministry has an oversight committee in parliament. So if it's the Ministry of Transport, it will have the Transport Consultative Committee, which is supposed to look into all of the policy level issues relating to transport. Now, all of these things, no media, no public, nothing. No public reporting. We have no idea what goes on in these particular ministries. So, based on that, we started working with a few members of parliament to get this information out there. And now, from last May onwards, on a monthly basis, all of the consultative committee minutes and everything are now publicly available. It's still difficult to process it for a normal member of the public, but at least Parliament is now publishing this information. And what we have done here is we have now taken all of this information regarding the consultative committees of Parliament, the main chamber of Parliament, and we have created an election hub for next week so that people can go and look at how particular members of Parliament, firstly, how have they voted in Parliament? Secondly, how active are they in Parliament in the main chamber? How active are they in the consultative committees? What are the main topics that they champion? What are some of the interesting facts about them? So maybe they're very, very active in the legislature, but they've never ever raised an action point in the consultative committees of Parliament. These are just, what we're trying to do here is what we're saying, you all may know what MPs do in their constituencies. Maybe they have renovated a school or built a new road or something like that. But what are they doing in their legislative function? That is what Mantri.lk is focused on, and that is what we'll all encourage you all to go and make use of between now and next Monday. But now, my colleague Sureka will very briefly take you through 3 examples and ignore the MP names. It's really looking at how you can use this data. So we'll very briefly show you all that and we'll wrap up.
අයිබෝන් මම සිංහලෙන් කතා කරනවා මම හිතන්නේ ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේෂන් එක හම්බ වෙයි මට ඒක වඩාත් පහසුයි අශෝක කිව්වා mantri.lk කියන්නේ මොකක්ද අපි ඒක මේ mantri.lk අරමුණ මොකක්ද mantri.lk ආරම්භ කරන්නේ කොහොමද mantri.lk කරන්නේ මොනවද ඒ වගේ දේවල් අශෝක කියපු හින්දා මම කෙලින්ම ඉලෙක්ෂන් හබ් එකට යන්නම් මැතිවරණ තොරතුරු මධ්‍යස්ථානය කියන නම තමයි අපි මේකට සිංහලෙන් දුන්නේ ඇත්තටම කිව්වා වගේ 28000කට වැඩි data records අපි ගාව තිබුණා අපි ඒවත් එක්ක හිතුවා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තු මැතිවරණ සමය 2015 ඉලක්ක කරගෙන අපේ දත්ත වලින් පෝෂණය කරපු මැතිවරණ තොරතුරු මධ්‍යස්ථානය අරින්න ඕනේ කියලා අපි මේ නගදී දවසක මේ පහුගිය දවස් 2-3 ඇතුළත පදනම් ආයතනයේදීම තමයි මේක ලොන්ච් කරෙත් අපි එහෙම කරන්න හිතුවේ ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් පහුගිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඒ කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලාංකික ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජයේ 7 වෙනි පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අපි නිරීක්ෂණය කරමින් ලබාගත් දත්ත අනුව අපි හිතුවා විශේෂත්වයක් තියෙන්නේ මෙවර 2015 ඒ කියන්නේ 8 වෙනි පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට තරඟ කරනවා ඒ മന്ത്രിවරු 202ක්ම. ඉතින් අපි වෙනස් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් පත් කරගන්න මීට වඩා හොඳ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් පත් කරගන්න අපි කතා කරාට මෙතනින් 202කුත් එන නිසා අපි හිතුවා දැනුම් දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා ඡන්දදායකයන්ට පුරවැසියන්ට ඡන්දේ භාවිතා කරන්න කලින් එක නිර්ණායකයක් හැටියට ඔවුන් පහුගිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මොනවද කරේ? ඔබ තමුන්නාන්සේලා වෙනුවෙන් මොනවද කරේ? තමන්ගේ ජාතික තලයේ දේශපාලනයේදී මොනවද කරේ කියන එක හෙළිදරව් කරන්න. ඒ අදහසින් තමයි මේ mantri.lk ඉලෙක්ෂන් හබ් එක මේ ඡන්ද කාලය පුරාවට ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්නේ ඡන්දදායකයෝ දැනුවත් කරන්න. මම කිව්වොත් මේ තමයි අපිට පේන්නේ අපේ හෝම් පේජ් එක. හෝම් පේජ් එකේ තියෙනවා මේ මැප් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි මැතිවරණ සිතියම ලංකාවේ. ඒ සිතියමේ තියෙන ඕනෑම දිස්ත්‍රික්කයක් ඔබ සිලෙක්ට් කරොත් ඔබට ඒ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ රිපෝට් කාඩ් එක වෙනම එනවා. එතකොට දිස්ත්‍රික් අපි ඇත්තටම മന്ത്രിවරුන්ට රිපෝට් කාඩ් එකක් හැදුවා. අසෝකත් ටිකක් පැහැදිලි කරා පක්ෂ ඔබ ඡන්ද දීලා යවන අපේක්ෂකයා මැතිවරණයෙන් තෝරාපත් කර යවන අපේක්ෂකයා മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් බවට පත් වුනහම පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේදී ඡන්ද දෙන්නේ කොයි වගේද යා? විශේෂ අනපනත්වලදී විශේෂයෙන්ම අගවිනිසුරුතුමිය ඉවත් කිරීමේ දෝෂාභියෝගයේදී ඔවුන් ඡන්දේ පාවිච්චි කරපු ආකාරය මොකක්ද? එහෙම නැත්නම් 18 වෙනි සංශෝධනයේදී ඔවුන් ඡන්දේ දුන්නේ මොන වගේද? ඒ වගේම උපදේශක කාරක සභාවල එතුමන්ලාගේ පැමිණීම කොයි වගේද සහභාගීත්වය මොන වගේද ඒ වගේ තොරතුරුත් එක තමයි මේ රිපෝට් කාඩ් එක හැදුවේ. ඉතින් ඒ රිපෝට් කාඩ් එක ලකුණු ක්‍රමයක් මත පදනම් වෙලා 1 සිට 225 දක්වා පෙළගස්වලා තමයි ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. දැන් මේ තියෙන රිපෝට් කාඩ් එකේ ඔබට පේනවා 18 වෙනි සංශෝධනය කැසිනෝ පනත් වලට කොහොමද ඡන්ද දුන්නේ 19 වෙනි සංශෝධනය මේ වගේ විශේෂ පනත් කිහිපයක් සහ ඊට පස්ව අපිට යන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා මේ മന്ത്രിවරුන්ගේ තනි පිටුවලට තනි රිපෝට් කාඩ් එකක් බලන්න පුළුවන්. මතනේ තව ටැබ් එකක් ඕපන් කරොත් මට පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් එක මේ മന്ത്രിවරයාගේ නම සලකන්න එපා. මේ උදාහරණයකට විතරක් මම පැහැදිලි කරන්නම්. මේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයා අපි ගත්තොත් කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් වන මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් මෙවර ඒ මන්ත්‍රීවරයාගේ පහුගිය පාර්ලිමේන්තු තොරතුරු තමයි මෙතන අපිට දකින්න හම්බ වෙන්නේ. ඔබට පේනවා නේද ඉන්ටරෙස්ටිං ෆැක්ට්ස් කියලා කොටසක් තියෙනවා. එතන තියෙනවා මේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයාගේ විශේෂ ලක්ෂණ මොනවද කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ එතුමා බැලුවොත් ව්‍යවස්ථාදායකයේ ප්‍රධාන සභාව තුළ මේන් චේම්බර් එකේ හොඳ පර්ෆෝමර් කෙනෙක්. හැබැයි අපිට පේනවා කන්සල්ටේටිව් කමිටි වල යාගේ පර්ෆෝමන්ස් ඇහෙන අඩුයි කියලා. තව ටැබ් එකකට ගියොත් මට තව മന്ത്രി කෙනෙක් උදාහරණයකට ගන්න පුළුවන්. අපි ගත්තොත් මේ ඉන්නේ තවත් മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් නම්බර් 2 മന്ത്രിවරයා කියමු අපි. එතුමාගේ විශේෂත්වය වෙන්නේ එතුමා ඇත්තම කිව්වොත් එතුමාගේ විශේෂත්වය තමයි එතුමා පෙත්සම් වලින් තමයි එයාගේ performance පෙන්නලා තියෙන්නේ. කියන්නේ තමන්ගේ කොට්ටාශය නියෝජනය කරමින් නිතරම පෙත්සමක් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා. තමන්ගේ ප්‍රදේශයේ ගැටලුවක් ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියෙනවා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුළත. තවත් උදාහරණයකට ගියොත් අපි මේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයා ගත්තොත් මේ මන්ත්‍රීවරයා ඇත්තටම ප්‍රධාන සභාවේ කතා කරන්නේ නැති තරම් නමුත් නිතරම උපදේශක කාරක සභාවල් වලට සහභාගී වෙමින් ඒ කටයුතු වලට සහභාගී වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ ආදී වූ විදිහට සමහර ලාට ඔබට දකින්න පුළුවන් මේ තොරතුරුත් එක්ක නිතරම පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුළත බාධාකාරී විදිහට ഘോഷාකාරී විදිහට හැසිරෙන മന്ത്രിවරුන් වාර්තා කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම කවදාවත් උපදේශක කාරක සභාවකට ගිහින් නැති മന്ത്രിවරුන් වාර්තා කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ වගේ ඉතා විශාල තොරතුරු ප්‍රමාණයක් තියෙනවා. මෙහෙම වෙන්න හේතුව වෙන්නේ කියන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව ඇතුළත මේ විදිහේ මේ දැන් අපි කිව්ව උපදේශක කාරක සභ මේ අපේ ළඟදිම විශ්ලේෂණ වාර්තාවේ තිබුණේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ කාරක සභාවල් වල තත්ත්වය ඉතාම නරකයි. අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව අංශභාගයෙන් පෙළෙනවා කියලා. පැරලයිසිස් කියලා. ඉතින් ඒ කියන්නේ මේ වගේ තොරතුරු තමයි අපි මේකේ දැනුවත් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔබ ඡන්දේ දෙනකොට ඔබ නැවත හිටපු മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් ඒ മന്ത്രിවරයා ප්‍රසිද්ධ වූ පමණින්ම එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ മന്ത്രിවරයා ඔබේ ප්‍රදේශයේ නිතර දකින පමණින්ම ඒ වගේම මේ മന്ത്രിවරයාට නායකත්වයේ සමග තියෙන සම්බන්ධතා සම්බන්ධයෙන් විතරක්ම සැලකිල්ලට ගන්න නැතුව එතුමා ඔබතුමා වෙනුවෙන් මොනවද කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියන එක ගැන හිතුවොත් හොඳයි කියලා මට හිතෙනවා. මට එක උදව්වක් කරන්න අපේ පරිගණකයෙන් මට දෙන්න මේ කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කය සිලෙක්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? හරි. මේ තියෙන්නේ අපි කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ රිපෝට් කාඩ් එක මම නිකන් උදාහරණයකට කියන්නම් ඔබට පේනවා මේ മന്ത്രിවරුන් අතර තියෙන තරගකාරීත්වය. කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම කිව්වොත් හැමෝම හොඳටම දන්න മന്ത്രിවරුන් ප්‍රමාණයක් ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් මේ තරගකාරීත්වය දිහා බැලුවොත් ඔබගේ තෝරා ගැනීම මොන වගේද? මට එක දෙයක් කියන්න පුළුවන්. මේ අයගෙන් වැඩියෙන් වැඩ කරපු മന്ത്രിවරයෙක් ඔබ තෝරා ගන්න. මම කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ තෝරගත්තේ ඔබ තමුන්නාසලා වැඩි පිරිසක් කොළඹ දිස්ත්‍රික්කයෙන් ඡන්දේ පාවිච්චි කරන නිසා මම එක උදාහරණයකට කිව්වේ ඒක ගැන අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔබ සැලකිලිමත් වේ යුතුයි කියන යෝජනාවත් එක්ක මම නවතින්නම්. මම හිතන්නේ අශෝකා රැප් අප් එකක් තියයි.
So just to reiterate the point, I mean, we'd encourage you all to go and take a look at mantri.lk at some point. One question that many people have is, why do you all only show those particular bills? Why do you all only show the votes on those particular pieces of legislation? The reason that is the case is that very few pieces of legislation are actually recorded by name. There are only a handful, these and the finance bills, the budgets. So it's not that we have gone and chosen these particular bills to highlight. These are the particular bills where people have actually identified themselves by name. Otherwise, everything, the electronic voting system in Parliament is not used. So this is as complete a set of data as you could find on that. But we'd encourage you to take a look, and thank you very much.
Okay, as the next session, we have something interesting for you. We're going to present 5 candidates who will pitch for your election. They will make a 1-minute brief, a pitch, and in the next break, we are going to vote for them. So I present your 5 candidates.
Vanakkam, Aibovan, and good evening. I just want to say this at the start that what is going to happen is an act. So please do bear with me because the field that I work in, I have to just make it clear and it's on record so that it's cleared.
Yeah, it's all an act, it's all an act.
Aibovan, mage nama one shot. Ada mama avilla denne. කෑ ගන්න නෙමේ, රණ්ඩු වෙන්න නෙමේ, එක එක දේවල් ඕගොල්ලෝ කියන්න නෙමේ, මම ඇත්ත කියන්නේ. ඕගොල්ලෝ අද මට ඡන්ද දුන්නොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් කොණ්ඩේ නැති කට්ටියට කොණ්ඩේ දෙනවා. මම දාගෙන ඉන්නෙත් කොණ්ඩෙමයි. දෙක ලංකාව ගත්තොත් ලස්සන ගෑනු ළමයි ඉන්නවා. යාපනයේ ඉඳන් කොළඹ වෙනකන් ලස්සන ගෑනු ළමයි ඉන්නවා. ඔක්කොමලා අනිවාර්යෙන් ක්‍රවුන් එකක් අඳින්න ඕනේ. මිස් ශ්‍රී ලංකා වෙන්නම ඕනේ. ඒක වෙන්නේ නැත්තම් හොඳ දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒ හින්දා මම කොහොමත් හරි මගේ ලස්සන පාවිච්චි කරලා හරි ඔක්කොමලාට මම ක්‍රවුන් එකක් දෙනවමයි. අනිත් එක මගේ පවුල ගැන ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලෝ මේ ලංකාව වෙනුවෙන් ගොඩක් කරලා තියෙනවා. මගේ තාත්තා රංගපාලා තියෙනවා. තාත්තගේ මල්ලි රංගපාලා තියෙනවා. මම එකක රංගපෑවුවා. හැබැයි ඒක හරි ගියේ නෑ. දැන් මම ඕගොල්ලෝකින් අහන්නේ ඕගොල්ලෝ මට ඡන්ද දුන්නොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕගොල්ලෝ තරඟ බහන්න පුළුවන්. මම වගේම ඕගොල්ලන්ට ජනප්‍රිය වෙන්න පුළුවන්. 3. අනිත් එක ගෙදර මට කියන්නේ මම ගැලපින් හෝස් කියලා. බ්ලැක් ෂීප් කියලාත් කියනවා මට. හැබැයි මම ඒ ගැන සතුටු වෙනවා. මම අනිවාර්යෙන් ඕගොල්ලන්ට හොඳ ඉඟුරු කෑල්ලක් දෙනවා කන්න. අනිවාර්යෙන්. ඒකත් නොමෙලි ගානට. ඉංගුරු ගාන අඩු වෙනවමයි. ඊට පස්සේ මට අලුත් ඇම්බැසඩර්ෂිප් එකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ ඔක්කොමලා මගේ කමර්ෂල් එකේ ඉන්නවා. 3 වෙනි එක ඕගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා දැන් මම ලස්සන ඇඳුම් අඳින්නේ කොටන් ඔක්කොම අලුත් කොටන් සාරීස් මගේ යාළුවට දෙනවා. මම අලුත් කොටන් ෂර්ට්ස් දාන්නේ. මේ ඔක්කොම අපි ඕගොල්ලන්ට දෙනවා. මේ වගේ දේශපාලනේ ඉන්න කට්ටියත් එක්ක හරි අමාරුයි අපිට ඡන්දෙ ඉල්ලන්නවත් බෑ. මොනා කරන්නද? මේගොල්ලෝ නම් කරුණා කරලා දෙන්න එපා මොනවත්. මට ඡන්දෙ දාන්න. one shot.
Oh boy, what a diva. With some more serious talk, my name is Ajay Goodfellow and I'm from the party The Capital. See, I'm here to take the partly developed urban area and fully develop it. What we are going to do is we are going to have more casinos, we are going to have more hotels, we are going to have more tourism. And people ask me, hey Ajay, what about the rural area? What about the environmentalism? What about social values? And I tell them, who cares? Who cares? If I make enough jobs in the urban areas, won't those people come into the urban areas? Won't they have jobs? Yeah, so we lose our culture and all that. What good is it anyway, man? I mean, if we can't compete in the global area, what good is our country? We can talk about our history and all these kind of things, but end of the day, it all comes to the money, you know? Yeah, you don't believe me? No? That's why, for a richer future, vote for me, Ajay Goodfellow. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Akka, and my campaign is around the theme, Because I Care. What do I care about? I care about everything. As a mother, as a woman, as a daughter, I care about everything that every one of you is concerned about. I care about the cost of living, much too high. Let's bring it down. I care about the environment. Every day trees are being cut where I live. The sound of the chainsaw breaks my heart. It's got to stop. As a mother, I care about children, children's rights, women's rights. Look at the harassment our women face on the roads, in buses every day. There are campaigns going on. Yes, I support them. I care about violence against women, sexual abuse, any form of street harassment. It has to stop. And it is only us women who can stop it. I care about animal rights. The elephants that are being mistreated. Every day in the newspapers you see this political party, that organization, dressing up elephants as if they were pets. Elephants are not pets. They're wild. They must remain wild. I care about elephants. I care about stray dogs too and stray cats. I have one stray dog and one stray cat. I care about freedom of speech. The freedom I have to stand up here today and say what I wish. I care about freedom of media because I love to write. I like to write what comes from the heart. I care about everything. Therefore, I care for all of you. You're all my family. You're all my children. I care about everyone. So if you vote for my party, every woman party, the men can vote also. If you vote for Akka, number 3, I will look after all of you. Thank you.
හලෝ මම ජනක නානායක්කාර මම නියෝජනය කරන්නේ උගත් තරුණයන්ගේ සංගමය. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැක්ක ඇති 4 දිනක් කතා කරොත් 3 දිනෙම කතා කරන විහිළු. මම ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ මෙතන විහිළු කරන්න නෙමෙයි. මම ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්නේ මට ඇත්තට දැනන දේ කියන්න. මම දකින විදිහට ඡන්දය හරියට ක්‍රියා කරන්න නම් එකක් තමයි sannivedanayak ඕනේ. අනික එක තමයි මේ කරපු පොරොන්දු ඉටු කරන්න ශක්තිය ඕනේ. දැන් මේ sannivedanයේ කොටස් දෙකක් තියෙනවා. එක කොටස තමයි sannivedakaya අනික එක පාඨකයා. දැන් මේ sannivedanaya කරන දේ හොඳට තේරෙන්න නම් පාඨකයා ලෝකයේ දකින්න විදියයි sannivedakaya ලෝකයේ දකින්න විදියයි සමාන වෙන්න ඕනේ. දැන් මම තරුණයෙක් වශයෙන් මම දන්නවා තරුණයන් ලෝකේ දකින්න විදිය. දැන් මේ තරුණයන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඉල්ලන දේ තමයි මේ තාක්ෂණයේ දියුණුව. දැන් මේ තරුණයා මේ කියන්නේ Wi-Fi දෙන්න, ඉන්ටර්නෙට් දෙන්න කියලා. දැන් මේ ඉන්න ගොඩක් අවුරුදු 40 50 කට්ටිය හිතන්නේ මේ රයිස් කුකර්, බ්ලෙන්ඩර් කියලා. මට එහෙම නෙවෙයි, මට තරුණයන් කියන දේ තේරෙනවා. අනික තමයි තරුණයන් වශයෙන් අපිට වැඩක් කරන්න ශක්තිය තියෙනවා. දැන් අපි දකිනවා ඔය අවුරුදු 40 50 කට්ටිය පාර බෑලා කෑ ගන්න කියලා පාර බයිනා ටිකක් වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා මහන්සි වෙලා තේ කඩේකට තේ බොන්න. තේක බීලා ඉවරෙද්දී තවත් මහන්සි වෙලා වැඩේ නවත්තලා ගෙදර යනවා. අපි එහෙම නෙවෙයි, අපි තරුණයන් වශයෙන් පටන් ගත්ත වැඩේ අපි ඉවර කළා තමයි නවත්තන්නේ. තරුණයන් වශයෙන් බොක්කට වදින sannivedanayයි බොක්කෙන් යන සවයි ඕනේ. ඒ නිසා තරුණයන් වශයෙන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ මට ඡන්දය දෙන්න. ස්තුතියි.
I love you all. You've supported me. You've been by my side. You know I've been in this business. How many years? 30 years I've been in this business. Not as a businessman, speaking for the people, working for the people. My passion is human rights. My passion is protecting everybody in this country. The minorities as well. Why, look how I saved them. Look at the roads I've built. I want you to follow me. My party is called the Follow Me Party. And my name is Lukuaya. We have had a long road to this point. It's been a difficult road, but you've helped me to come all this way. And I'm here for you. If you have a problem as a farmer, I'll help you. You need a new bus? I'll help you. You want higher salaries? I will help you. Don't worry, I'll help you. Follow me all the way. We can create a great nation together. All people will be represented. We can do it. We can do it. You know we can do it. But let us look at some of the issues. Let us not make any mistakes. All those other people are talking rubbish. And we know that. Look at how corrupt they are. Look at them. Look at that businessman. Look what he's doing, taking all that money. Look at that lovely woman. Yes, but is she educated enough? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. That young chap, I love him dearly, man. He worked with me for so many years in my party headquarters. He's followed me also. I said to him, Puta, if you want to go on your own, you create your own party. I even gave him money. Can you imagine how generous I am? I'm not trying to speak just about myself in the Follow Me Party. No, it's not about me only. It's about everybody. Everybody in this country should follow me towards greatness. Greatness and greatness, that's what we need. Security. It's a number one issue, security. That's why I have so much security. Can you see? Because security for everybody is the only way that we can progress. Religions. Yes, we are many religions in this country. I meditate every day after my workout. in the gym. I had a gym built in my own house, but that's all right. I meditate. The Handra comes to my house to help me. He has taught me so much about my own religion, about my own practice. That is why I want to help to promote this country, for it to be a shining example in the world for democracy and human rights. Are you with me? Are you with me? I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much. I would like to go on a bit more. I know we're limited for time, but I know you're interested. I can see it in your faces. You're interested. You gave me such a large turnout last time. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. But let us be serious. Just a few more minutes, if you don't mind. What are the issues facing us? For so many hundreds of years, these foreigners came, didn't they? No? What did they do? What did they do, these foreigners? They gave us string hoppers. No? They gave us Baila. No? And they gave us Lord Buddha. Oh, sorry, that's a good thing. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? These foreigners, this foreign domination. We're a small country, no? We're a small country full of resources. I want those resources. Sorry, what I mean is, we should all share those resources. Don't you agree? Not just for me and my friends here, or my family. Sorry, there are half of them outside. 300 of them outside. It is time for us to focus on good, strong leadership. Don't you agree? Good, strong leadership, because I have saved everybody. I am the first person, like one of the great kings, that saved this nation from the abyss. The big word, abyss. I learned it the other day. And that is why we need this kind of security. I'm not a farmer, but I get into a sarong and I get into the fields with those farmers. I find out about their problems. I know what the people are going through. I know they like me. I know they like my family. I know they do. Why? Because I have built them roads. Look at the beautiful roads. Even the urban people, wherever you are, sir, I've built you so many things in your city. You don't have to build it anymore. Look at the lovely projects I've done all around the country. Look at the palaces. Sorry, not the palaces. I didn't build those. Look at those things that I did for all of you. This is a fight. Don't make any mistake. This is a fight. A fight for all of us. Sri Lankans and the minorities. Vote for me. The Follow Me Party. Vote for me. So please don't get the roles confused. I'm back to my normal self now. We're going to have a tea break. Hopefully a tea break. No, I think it's a juice break. And what we're going to do is, during the break, you have your voting cards, slips. It's a voting game. Let me emphasize that, because once again, we're trying to be very respectful of everything that's happening in the country. And the Elections Commissioner is doing a fantastic job, so we're very respectful of his work. So we're calling it a voting game. And when we come back after the break, we're going to have another fantastic segment from Dushyant and Stephanie and the band. And then we're going to go into the brainstorming exercise. So we're going to break up into groups, and we're going to talk about some of the issues, topics are going to be put to you, and then we'll reconvene and put all the findings together. So please think about who you're going to vote for. Thank you.